أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم اجعل قلبي بارد وعملي صارت وعيشي قارت ورزقي دارت وأولادي برارت واجعل لي عند قبر نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مستقر وقرارا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أحسنتم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لبس العز والكبرياء واختارهما لنفسه دون خلقه، والصلاة والسلام على الأشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد، اللهم صل وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين، لا سيما بقية الله روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. أما بعد، أيها الإخوة والأخوات، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers. I advise you and advise myself in attaining and being wary of the main provision of taqwa. Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana lihada wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. I ask the organizers for welcoming me. Alhamdulillah, it's my first time here at this masjid, and inshallah, hopefully it's not the last time. Inshallah, the first khutbah I will be dedicating on one of the realities of life. A reality that focuses on your everlasting friend. You see, every one of us here now today, we will all go through the same event. Every one of us today will all go through death. Death is inevitable. It will happen to every single one of us here sitting today. Every single one of us. Before we die, there's a few things that as well every single one of us will experience. The first stages of death, because death, us living now, we're on that stage of dying. Allah says, وَكُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul is, people say that ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ means will taste death. ذَائِقَة is ism fa'il, which means they are tasting death. At this moment, they are tasting death. Because every day that we live is a day closer to dying and reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first level, before we enter that, of the first stage of dying is being alive. The second stage of dying is ihtidar or muhtadir, where the person is in a state بين اليقظة والنوم. He's not asleep, he's not dead, and he's not completely aware. As we say in medical, his GCS is not 15 out of 15. He's بين اليقظة والنوم. At this moment, his family, he can hear his family, but he can't speak. Every one of us will experience this. At this moment, the dead person, for example, myself, Nasser, I can hear those people around me. I'm starting to see the angels. I'm starting to see the realities around me. At this moment, what happens? My eyes will close. My soul will be removed from my body. This will happen to all of us. At this moment now, we'll be, as the riwayat say, we'll be flapping like a bird on top of our heads. Our souls will be like a bird flapping. Our souls will be unsteady. We can witness every single one of us, every single person around us, we can see them. And we not only can see them, but we know their true intentions of why they're here. Is it because of irith? Is it because of the wiratha? Is it because of inheritance? Is it because they love me? Is it because they just want to get rid of me, so they're hastening this? I know, as a dead person, I know, seeing everyone around, I know who they are. The second stage that we will happen and that we will experience, third afwan, is a stage when, as I said, now our bodies are going to be taken to the maghsal. The maghsal is a place where we all will be there. Every single one of us will touch that same metal, that metal bed. Every single one of us will touch that. Our bodies will be naked on that maghsal, and we'll have a person starting the wash, starting from our head, ending it with our left. So our head, our right, then our left. Then again, the person will come and do another wash on us to purify us, now to make us smell nice. The ma' al-qafur. The third now is ma' mutlaq, where now they're going to wash our bodies a third time. And now, as like a potato sitting on the bed, the people that's washing us are now going to put our eternal clothing on, the kafan. This is a kafan that, brothers, please believe me, one of the things that acts as a maw'idah in life, وَكَفَ بِهَا مَوْعِظَةً or wa'id. I think that's an admonition in our life is remembering death. If you remember death continuously, it makes you stay away from haram. Now this kafan will be placed on us. This is a kafan now they have to be perfect in it. They have to put the qamis, the mi'zar, the qamis, and the izar. And after that, or before that, they put tahnit, where they powder our places of sujood. At this moment now, after they finish the takfeen, they take us outside for our family members. At this moment now, what's going to happen? The following day, they're gonna be praying salat al-mayyit on us, on me, on you, on everyone. At this moment now, we'll be sent where? To an everlasting house. Our house that we will stay in there until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yawm al-qiyamah. This is a house where we'll be in the same position for 100 years, 2,000 years, 4,000 years, 8,000 years, Allahu A'lam, God knows. At this moment now, when our family places us in this graveyard, they're going to put turab on top of our heads. They're going to put the last lahad to cover that sunshine from coming into our graveyard. At this moment now, our family are going to chuck the turab, the dirt on us. And at this moment, everyone's going to go. The narration says the last person that leaves the burial place, 40 steps away from the graveyards, Nakir al-Munkar will come and judge us. Now, at this moment, the question is, what's our true friend? This true friend is the one that will stay with us in our graveyard. Not only will stay with us in our graveyard, it will be our assistant. It will be our assistant during this world of barzakh. This world of barzakh we will come into and we'll start to live in is a world that there is sun, there is a moon, there is day and there is night. It's like dunya. Layl fi al-layl fi al-nahar, shams wal-qamar. But of course the timing there is different. At this moment we'll be living there, and we'll experience misfortunes. In that world of barzakh, we'll experience misfortunes. It's a test. But the thing that will make us successful is our actions. This action is our true friend that will stay with us up until Yawm al-Mahshar. Up until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ready to take us into Jannah, inshaAllah. And then, I'm not going to say Jahannam, but I'm saying Jannah. Be optimistic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us to Jannah. This friend will even enter Jannah with us. Now the hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The Prophet of God, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says the friends of Bani Adam, the friends of us, our true friends, our friends are three of types. Three. 1, 2, 3. أخلاء ابن آدم ثلاثة. The friends of Ibn Adam is three. واحد يتبعه إلى قبض روحي. The first friend is the one that comes and that stays with you until when Malik al-Maut comes and takes our soul away. The second friend, Rasulullah says, is وَالثَّانِي إِلَى قَبْرِهِ وَيَتْبَعُهُ إِلَى قَبْرِهِ. The second friend that you have is the one that will stay with you until you are placed in your graveyard. Then Rasulullah says, وَالثَّالِث مَا يَتْبَعُهُ إِلَى مَحْشَرٍ. The one that will stay with you until the day before you enter Jannah, the one that will stay with you until when Allah raises you up is the last friend that you have. Now the Prophet says, وَالَّذِي يَتْبَعُهُ إِلَى قَبْضِ رُوحِهِ. The one that will be with you until your soul will be detached from your body is what? فَمَالُ, is your wealth, is your money, is your asset, is your car, that Mercedes, that Volkswagen, that mansion that you have. This will be with you until only when Malik al-Maut comes and takes your soul away. Amir al-Mu'mineen one day was walking in the Battle of Siffin. Allahu Akbar. After the Battle of Siffin, he was coming back, as depends on the narration. He was coming back and he went past a cemetery. He says, يا أهل التربة ويا أهل الغربة وأما الدهور فقد سقنت وأما الأموال فقد قسمت وأما الأزواج الله أكبر وأما الأزواج فقد نقحت. He says, oh people of turab, that dirt, oh people of oneness, loneliness, those houses you left behind, people are living in them now. That wealth you left behind has been divided among your family members. And that wife that you left behind, now she's married to another person. فَقَدْ نُكِحَتْ. Then Amir al-Mu'min instantly looks at these graveyards and he starts to speak to them. He says, هَذَا خَبَرُنَا وَلَيْتَ شِعْرِي مَا خَبَرَكُمْ. He says, this is our news in dunya. And what's your news in this graveyard now? You're doing, what's the news there? The companions looked at Amir al-Mu'minin and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, who are you talking to? The Amir al-Mu'minin says, I'm talking to these people in the graveyards. Amir al-Mu'minin had access, he could speak to them. As the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth, he had the as we say, the wilayat taqwiniyya. He could communicate with these dead people. Then the Imam alayhi salam looks at them and he says that if Allah were to give them, إِذَا أَذِنَ اللَّهُ لَهُمَ الْجَوَابِ, if Allah were to give them the ability to reply to us, you know what they would say? وَتَزَوَّدْ فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. They will say, attain that provision of taqwa. That taqwa, that God-wariness is what's going to save you in the day of judgment. Not how many rak'ats you pray in masjid, how many days you fast. If it's not associated with God-wariness, if your life is not associated until you die with God-wariness, your life is a life of, as we say, void. It's void. There's no purpose in that. The day you die, the day before you die, if you, inshallah, die in the way of a muttaqi, then know it for sure. Even though 75% of your life was a life of haram, life of bad things, but if you die in a way of having taqwa or taqwa Allah and you are sincerely repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise you up among the muttaqeen. إِنَّمَا أَقْرَمُكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The best of you are those people that have taqwa. إن أحسن الكلام وأبلغ الموعظة كتاب الله تعالى. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على عبدك ورسولك محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. وصل على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. وصل على سيدا شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين. وصل على الأئمة المسلمين من ذرية الحسين علي بن حسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي والحسن بن علي العسكري والخلف الحجة القائم وآل محمد عجل الله تعالى فرج الشريف. حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك عليهم أفضل الصلوات والتحيات. اللهم اغفر المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات وإنك ولي الحسنات وإنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم لا تخرجنا يا الله، اللهم لا تخرجنا من هذه الدنيا إلا بذنب مغفور وسعي مشكور وعمل متقبل وتجارة لن تبور. اللهم اعتقني واعتقنا من النار واجعلنا من طلقائك وعتقائك من النار. اللهم اغفر ما مضى من ذنوبي واعصمنا فيما بقي من عمرنا. وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعاه وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد أيها الإخوة والأخوات، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Respected brothers and sisters, Salamun alaykum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I advise yourselves, and of course I advise myself first and foremost, in adhering to the provision that we just spoke about. Provision that will be our everlasting friend, our amal, our actions. Our amal is an action, or the good actions that will be with us as an everlasting friend are the actions that can either be good, can either be bad. This everlasting friend is an action that can be either good or can either be bad. The good friend, the good everlasting action is an action that's associated with taqwa. What I mean by that, I mean an action, because at the end of the day, I can stand up and pray, go to Masjid al-Haram, pray, but this salah is not accepted. Why? The difference between that and the difference between another person that's praise accepted in the same spot in Masjid al-Haram is the intention, is the reason. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What's the purpose? This is the difference. Therefore, an action that's associated with qurbatan ilallahi ta'ala, an intention done for the sake of Allah, is an action that is accepted, an action that's your provision, an action that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase, yudha'if, He will increase this action. Amal in general is the reality, is pretty much the means of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice. Allahu adil, is adil, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to punish you if you didn't do anything wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to punish you only if you've done something wrong. Therefore, this action is a hujjah between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People believe that we live in this world in Jabriya, that we are forced to do our actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we kill a person, it's Allah, it's not ourselves. This is wrong. At the end of the day, we have ikhtiyar, we have a choice in our actions. If we kill a person, if we give charity, if we sponsor an orphan, our dear brothers, wallah, sponsoring an orphan is one of the actions that, believe me, is an action that, believe me, will provide nur in your graveyards, that graveyards of wahsha. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, just for information, he says, لا يأتي ساعة أشد من أول الليلة في القبر. في مضمون الرواية يعني. The Prophet says that there is not one night in the person's life, in dunya and in his graveyard, except one night that is very bad, a night that's very hard. فَأَرْحَمُوا أَمْوَاتُكُمْ بِالصَّدَقَةِ. Therefore, have mercy on your people, your family, by giving charity, sponsoring an orphan. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِيعْ, if you don't have the ability to give sadaqah, at least pray 2 rak'ats. The point here is that the riwayah says that sadaqah is your means of attaining life, is your means in attaining that satisfaction, is that means of having nur in your graveyard. You see, without this amal, of course there's other amal, but what I'm trying, the easiest one we can do, and alhamdulillah, many of us have the ability to give charity. Use this with the intention of giving. I'm not saying give $1, $2. People think, oh, khalas, I'll give $1, $2. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You cannot reach this ability of bir, ihsan, greatness, good action, unless you give things مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, the things that you like to be given. Not $1, $2. Habibi, if you have, astaghfirullah, if you have $100, give a good amount that you know that this person will earn something out of it. If you have $100,000, give your obligation, give 2%. 20% is obligation, khums. But give 2%, 1%, give 1,000, 2,000. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. This is the true bir, not giving $1, $2, and have the intention. Why do you want to give this money? Make a business deal between you and Allah. If you have a haja now, and something is in your brain, you want something, you want to get married, you want a new job, you want success in your studies. For example, me, I have my studies, I want to pass all my exams for my teachers, Sheikh Mansour Hizbi, had in my exams. If I want success in my exams, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing a business deal with Allah. Ya Allah, if you make me pass this exam, I'll give I'll give $20 if I can afford $100. I'll give charity. I'll do a qurban, I'll sacrifice a 4-legged animal. By doing this transaction, it's a benefit on your side. So sadaqah has its shurut, has its conditions, and also has its effects in this world and hereafter. Before, inshallah, I finish 3 points I'd like to highlight in the second khutbah. These 3 points is a necessary for our success in our journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end of the day, we're on a journey towards Allah. The first point is that the personal ubudiyyah between you and Allah. I question myself first, but I also question you. How is your ubudiyyah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The narration says, if you want to know your manzil, your status with Allah, look at yourself and see how Allah is in you. within yourself, within your life. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have any importance in your life, then no, Allah has no importance with you in His kingdom, in the Malakut al-Sab'a. If you are the person that's khalas, you don't care about a sin, you do the sin. Khalas, you don't want to, you're too easygoing. Oh, Allah's Arham ar-Rahimin. I'll just do my prayer at the last moment. Habibi, if you're praying your Fajr 10 minutes before Fajr, or if you're praying your Dhuhr Asr 10 minutes before Maghrib, it shows your connection with Allah is very far. You have your relationship with Allah is very weak. It's like those plastic chains. My son, I bought him a dummy, and we had a chain, and it easily ripped off because it was plastic. Therefore, likewise, and my wife said, we'll get him a chain, a metal chain, so it doesn't rip off. But what I'm trying to say is that this connection between Allah is like that plastic chain that you have. It can easily rip off. So if you want to know your true status with Allah, look how is Allah in you. The first thing is that look at your personal life, your ubudiyyah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَا مِن شَيْءٍ يَتَقَرَّبْ. There's nothing that you can gain closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than performing your prayers in the personal aspect. Social aspect, I'll mention it next. Personal aspects is sujood, salah, worshipping Allah. The best is salat al-layl. Salat al-layl, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا salat al-layl. My teacher emphasizes on us, perform salat al-layl. Perform salat al-layl. Perform salat al-layl. We ask him, Shaykhna, if we can't wake up 1 hour before Fajr, which is the best time to wake up for Salat al-Layl, is at least for a starter, for a beginner, do wudu. Man bata fi firashihi bi tuhrin. The Prophet says, whoever sleeps in his bed whilst in tahara, it's as if he has worshipped Allah in the mosque. First level of Salat al-Layl is that. If you can't do your 2 rak'at, at least do your wudu before you go to bed. Another riwayah says, if you die in this state, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise you up as a shaheed. Second is pray 2 rak'ats before you go to bed. This will be among the Salat al-Layl. It's considered Salat al-Layl after Salat al-Isha. Therefore, these are the first thing we have to look at. The second thing I want to look at is your social responsibilities. As much as we have our responsibilities between us and ourselves and Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also question us regarding our social behaviors, our social aspects between us and the family, the friends, the masajid, especially the brother, the mu'min. Mu'min ala mu'min alayhim huquq. A brother and another brother. I'm not talking about the brother in the normal blood. I mean the mu'min brother, Muslim brother. He has a right and an obligation between you and him. There's an obligation that you must fulfill. And if you do not perform this and you do not fulfill this obligation, you'll be questioned with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he tells one of his companions, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And when the companion asks Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, قُلْتُ لَهُ مَا حَقُّ الْمُسْلِمِ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِ. What is the right of a believer to another believer? He says, سَبَعُ حُقُوق. There are 7 rights. I'm not going to mention due to time all the rights. I'll mention only 3. And he says, وَهُوَ وَاجِبٌ إِن ضَيَّعَ مِنْهَا شَيْءٍ. He said, it's an obligation. If you miss at least one of these obligations, خَرَجَ مِنْ وِلَايَةِ اللَّهِ وَطَاعَتِهِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لِلَّهِ فِيهِ النَّصِيبِ. The Imam says that if the person were to leave only one right away and does not fulfill one right, he will be pushed away from the guardianship between him and Allah, the wilayah between him and Allah, that friendship between him and Allah, that love between him and Allah will be pushed away. And Allah won't even be his helper and his assistant. Then Mu'alla ibn Khunais, he tells the Imam, Ya Imam, what's the first right? I'll mention, and the Imam tells him that I can't tell you all of them. He says, the Imam as an excuse, because the Imam, if he tells him this, it becomes a hujjah. He has to fulfill. So if I'm telling you this, it's a hujjah. You must do this. If you don't want to listen, cover your ears. Not too long. So the Imam tells him, you're my friend. Anta rafiqi, you're my friend. So the Imam indirectly saying, I don't want to tell you, because he knows that he can't fulfill it. Then Mu'alla tells him, Ya Imam, no, I can. Billahi, he says, Ma sha Allah, whatever Allah wills. So he uses the excuse. If Allah gives me the tawfiq to do it, I'll do it. So the Imam looks at him and he tells him, Aysaru haqq minha, the best and the easiest right that you have with your brother is that an tuhibba lahu ma tuhib li nafsik, is that you would love for yourself, or you would love for him what you would love for yourself. You don't like how people treat you treat him the way you would want to be treated. It's the best way. You want something, you know that he wants a certain food, he went out with you. And you know this, you like this food, treat him the way he's you. Pretend your brother is you and treat him the way you are treated. I'm going quicker because of time. والحق الثاني, the second is أن تتجنب سخطه وتتبع مرضاته. He says the second is that you what? You prevent yourself from angering your brother. Try your best not to anger your brother. And you try your best to fulfill whatever requests he asks. People might say, oh, shoot, I'm a servant. I'm a servant to his friend. بالعكس. You're not a servant of your friend. You're a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even the kafir, the best blessing we have is being alive. Because this is that thing that is going to take us and make us successful in our journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is giving always a chance to kuffar to change. If Allah is doing this for a kafir, who denies him, who swears at him, who makes him know, he says, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى, as Fir'aun says. And Allah is giving him a means of imla. He's increasing his life. What makes you your friend? Okay, serve him. He's your brother. You have a right to tabi'. You have a right to follow what his request. وَتُطِيعْ أَمْرَهُ, and you follow what he asks for you. And believe me, this is a mu'min. The mu'min can do that. He's a mu'min. وَالثَّالِث أَن تُعِينَهُ بِنَفْسِكَ وَمَالِكَ وَلِسَانِكَ وَيَدِيكَ وَرِجْلِكَ. Is that the third is that you, which is I'll end it here, is that you help him. تُعِينَهُ, you help him with your nafs. You take time out to help your brother. The most valuable thing you have is time. And the most valuable way to do your transaction this time is helping others to get more worth back. Help him. Give him your time, yourself. وَمَالِك, and your wealth. Make sure you have a little bit of... I've given this lecture in Masjid Ahlul Bayt a few weeks ago. Very in-depth. If you want to listen to the rest, I refer you to that to the YouTube channel Masjid Ahlul Bayt in Auburn, which I mentioned all 7. But just 3 of them. The third one is that you help him with your wealth. You give him from your wealth. You leave a bit from your wealth. If you know that he's in need of money, give it to him. He doesn't have to ask. If you feel like, give him. Say, brother, would you like some help with money? Help him. وَلِسَانِك, you be his advocate. You help him. وَيَدِك, you busy your hands with helping him. This can be in any work possible. Any work possible. Anything. Help him. If he needs a hand, help him. وَرَجْلِك, put some ways to go and put effort. If a brother is calling you from Allahu A'lam, I don't know, Sydney, and you're in Canberra, he's asking for assistance. Go, Sahi, go help your brother. Imam al-Sadiq, and I'll end it with this hadith. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, once, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Al-Afu, I think it was Imam Hassan, Mushtaba. ثانيا. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Al-Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, if I'm not mistaken, one of the Imams, he said that if a person were to be in Masjid al-Haram, which is the best place to worship Allah in. ثانيا, second is that he is doing i'tikaf. He's doing those i'tikaf where you stay up in the masjid for 3 days or 3 nights, fasting the days and praying the nights. 3 nights in that masjid. The rewards that you achieve, Allahu Akbar, is so much. The Imam says, if a believer, a brother comes, you come to me and you ask me for help, and you're doing it. If I come to you, you're doing i'tikaf, you're fasting the days, you're praying the nights, and I ask you for help, and you're in Masjid al-Haram, and it's haram, it's forbidden to break, regardless of Masjid al-Haram or even this masjid, it's haram to break your i'tikaf for no reason. So they say it's haram to even leave this masjid. This line is haram to leave. That's how serious it is, i'tikaf. So the Imam says, if a brother receives a word that another brother needs help, and he's in a situation, for him it's better to break his i'tikaf and go and fulfill the need of that brother. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him alf hajjah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. See, this is the haqq of a mu'min to another mu'min. And the third, inshallah, is the relationship between you and Sahib al-Asri wa zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How is the relationship between you and your Imam? I ask this as a reminder. I ask you as a reminder because I'm speaking to myself. These are things that I want someone to remind me of. How is your relation with your Imam? If it's not there, you don't have any clue of the Imam when he was even born. Allahu Akbar. Then know that how can you say you're his Imam? He's your Imam. Alayhi salam. One of the best things, dear brothers, if you want to say this connection, is dua al-faraj. Allahumma kulli waliyaka. That's the best dua you can do continuously. Continuously, just to reaffirm your allegiance with the Imam. And the second is if you're ever in need haja. If you want haja and you need something, there's a dua called dua al-faraj. Ilahi azum al-bala. وبارح الخفاء وضاقت الأرض ومنعت السماء وكذا كذا وأنت المستعان. Ya Allah, this dua, believe me brothers, is so powerful. It's so powerful. This is doing tawassul ila sa'ida Rasulullah Amir al-Mu'mineen and al-Imam al-Mahdi. Ajil Allah ta'ala faraj al-Sharif. This is, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is a dua that I advise you at least once a night, once every week, once every month. Recite this dua. You don't have to read in Arabic, read in English, read in Urdu, read it in Farsi, whatever language it is. At least you have that connection between your Allah and you and Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. And know that your Imam is present. And he's just awaiting your call. That's the only thing. The Imam can easily come down now. But he's waiting for us to be ready. That's the only thing. How can we ask Allah to ajil li walayk al-faraj, hasten repentance, if we don't even have this connection with us in the Imam? Inna ahsan al-kalam wa ablagh al-maw'idah kitab Allah ta'ala a'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Sadaq Allahu al-Aliyyul Azim. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.